Today, we will be talking about Musashi versus the God of War. Tokugawa wanted to reintroduce Orochi Doppo to Musashi. Instead of Tokugawa using his mouth, he'll let Doppo show Musashi some moves. Doppo began to demonstrate his moves, destroying multiple bricks at once, destroying bottles in an unusual way, and jumping in the air, cutting the wood with a clean cut. Then Doppo said to Musashi, "I am Orochi Doppo." Then Musashi replied, "With all those moves, it isn't really fighting, is it? It's more like you're dancing, but what I don't get is why did you bring the stones and wood?" Musashi completely insulted Doppo. Doppo shouted at Musashi, "What did you say, bastard?" Musashi asked Doppo if he was mad. Doppo began to walk towards Musashi, saying, "It's okay if it's a dance, or if it ain't. Would you like to see for yourself?" Then suddenly, Doppo tried to headbutt Musashi, but Musashi deflected Doppo's headbutt. Musashi stated, "You'll have to forgive me. I was able to see it a little, then Doppo backed it away." Musashi began to explain that the moves that Doppo showed could be used in a fight. The moves that Doppo used was aimed for the 5 deadly spots. Doppo stated that Musashi was able to deflect his headbutt but didn't use a counter, but touching this bald head of mine is the price rather high. Musashi replied, "I'll accept the cost." Then Musashi took his fighting stance. Doppo now knows that Musashi is serious now, but Doppo realized there was a sword in front of him. He didn't expect the sword to reach that far. Then suddenly Musashi went in for an attack. Doppo was able to block the first attack, but Musashi hit Doppo with a second attack, making Doppo feel as if he's been slashed. Musashi laughed at Doppo, stating, "So Orochi, looks like you were just dancing after all." Then Musashi punched Doppo in the face, knocking him down, saying, "I didn't have to kill you." Suddenly Doppo leaped back up, taking a stance known as the heaven and earth upside down stance, which means Doppo is very serious now. Musashi asked Doppo if he was okay. Doppo responded, "I'm still standing." Musashi stated that he cut Doppo and that he knew Doppo wasn't okay. But Doppo stated that the cut is nothing more than a big cut, and that won't kill me. Doppo told Musashi that his cut was fake and that he needs to bring out his full potential. Musashi agreed. Musashi asked Tokugawa if there was any sword around. The sword that was near belongs to the Tokugawa family. It is a national treasure called Kunitora, a true family heirloom. Only a few had seen it. Now, Musashi has a real sword ready to be used against Doppo. Tokugawa starts yelling at Doppo, stating that he's going against the real Musashi. Doppo did not care. He just wanted to fight. Doppo told Tokugawa, "Even if it's a spear or a katana, I am not green enough to be shaken up by them." Musashi began laughing, saying, "You guys are really funny. It just doesn't sound like something the god of fighting would say. It still sounds pretty darn human to me. A god of fighting can be cut down by a single cut, and he even faces a katana and a spear. Perhaps it's better if you just started dancing out of nowhere, cause let's be honest here for a bit. Karate is mere child's play, something you do while playing around, right?" Doppo was not going to let that slide. Doppo leaped in for an attack, but Musashi was able to bring his sword out and brought Doppo to the ground, showing that he could kill Doppo. Doppo was defeated with low difficulty. Musashi stated that he didn't cut Doppo. All he did was press his sword against him. If he had applied a little pressure, he would have cut Doppo in half.